Hi, it's Owen Robertson. I'm a natural health enthusiast and I'm the founder of Lionheart Herbs, High Energy Academy, Health Coaching Institute, among many other things. And here today to talk about my essential top 10 travel companions. So the supplements and the herbs and the stuff that I take with me while traveling. As always, this training is a response to your feedback, and I've recently had several people on our client forum ask a question along the lines of, I'm going away, or someone I know is going away, what would you recommend that I take? What should I take? Now, of course, this question depends so much on your individual situation. So I thought I'd just share with you my things that I take with me, and then hopefully that will inspire you to, maybe include some of the things that I mentioned here and to come up with your own list based on what's most suitable and what's most important for you. Because, just like you, my health is important to me. Right? And just like you, when I travel, I don't want to be burdened with like loads and loads of different stuff. So I want to pick and take with me just those things which I consider to be like the highest leverage, so the most value for the least having to lug something around, and also the most relevant, right? So even if there is something that's really relevant, if I can do without it for a week, like say vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is great, it's highly relevant, but it's something where deficiency will build up over years, so unless I'm really chronically deficient in it, I can easily go without it for a couple of weeks. And at the time of filming this is kind of a relevant question. When I saw this in our forum, I thought perfect, because I'm actually going away in 5 weeks. I'm going to LA for 10 days, and I'm going to be faced with exactly this question. What am I going to take with me? So here's what I come up with. I'll share with you basically what it is, and specifically why I'm taking it. So this is not like a long video about all the benefits of these different things. These are just like one reason for each thing why I would take it with me and why I would prioritize it as one of my travel essentials. So let's get started. The first thing I'll take with me would be a grounding sheet. So a grounding sheet, or often known as an earthing sheet as well, if you've never heard me talk about it, is basically a piece of technology that connects you to the earth. So in the same way that electrical appliances need to be earthed, otherwise their electrical current can get erratic and even dangerous, it's actually the same for human beings. So we're naturally earthed when our bare skin touches things that are earthed, like the ground, bodies of water, the sea, all that kind of thing. But of course, sleeping in our beds, we're normally not earthed. So we use a grounding sheet. So for me, this is something that I use, but it's something that I bother taking with me, even though it is a bit cumbersome, though it actually folds up quite small. It's like a few hundred grams, something like that. Number one, for grounding, because if I'm flying to LA, that's like an 8-hour time difference for me. So I want to support my body to reset my circadian rhythms as quickly as possible by connecting with the earth on that new location. And for sleep, right? Sleep's really important. It's really important to me. And so I want to make sure that I sleep as well as possible, even though I'm in a hotel room where maybe, occasionally I can't even get fresh air, though I tend to do my best to make sure that doesn't happen. And like there's unfamiliar noises around, there's, light can get through. Normally I like to have my blackout curtains, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of spoiled in my sleep usually. So when I'm somewhere else, I want to support my sleep as best as I can. And so for me, that would be a grounding sheet. Number two would be Rejuvenate, right? Which is the Yin Jing blend from Lionheart Herbs, a Taoist tonic herbal blend with things like Hoshi Wu, Shizandra, prepared Romania, things like that. And so basically for me, the reason I'll take that with me and prioritize it is for restoring, replenishing my reserves, right? Because travel, especially travel across time zones, long flights, stuff like that, they deplete your reserves. Of course, that's not a reason not to do them. Sometimes it's totally worth it. But it is good to replenish your reserves, and so that's why I'll make sure I'll take Rejuvenate. And of course, just generally, if you're in a new environment, yes, it's exciting, yes, it's interesting, yes, it's fun, and all that kind of thing. But it is also like stressful to the body because it's got to adapt to a new environment. So again, it's to increase my reserves of adaptive energy. I guess I'll put that in there as reason 1.5. Number three would be another Lionheart Herbs Taoist tonic tea blend, and that's Digest. Now, at the point that this is going to be announced, that won't actually be available yet, but this is something that I've been actually developed for my own use, to be honest, a couple of years ago. A blend of 5 of the best digestive herbs together, and I've been using it ever since. It's been brilliant, and right now we're looking at bringing it to the store, and it should be there in the next month or two, something like that. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll tell you when it's available. But basically, I will always bring Digest with me wherever I go for digestive support, right? And that's something that's relevant to me, and it may not necessarily be the case for you. Whereas restoring reserves, something that's true for pretty much everyone. But for me, I find that travel will upset my digestion. Often eating food I'm not used to will upset my digestion. It's not a massive thing these days, but still, it's not optimal anymore. And so by using Digest, I increase my digestive fire, I increase my capacity to digest, and so I tend to take that with me and have it pretty much every day after breakfast, and that's really, really awesome, and it really works for me. Number 4, I'll go for MSM, right? And so I love MSM for many reasons. I love to take it, for preventative reasons on a regular basis. But I'll take it, the reason I'll take it with me specifically, even when I'm traveling, is in the case of allergies or intolerances to something. So if I end up having something that, normally my body reacts to badly, or if I have any other inflammatory issues. So, if I accidentally eat wheat, for instance, or something like that, and maybe it bothers me a little bit, my sinuses or something like that, or, if I have some kind of minor injury, if I twist my ankle, or, if I'm really stiff from sitting in a, uncomfortable way in an airplane for 10 hours or whatever it might be. So to have MSM to reduce inflammation, to reduce the impact of allergies, that's really worth it to me. So I absolutely make sure I take it with me. It's so important. I'll even make sure I have it available to me, for me on the plane. Number 5 is Daily Multiple, right? So Daily Multiple is that basic kind of multi-formula, but the reason why I like it is not some kind of dead capsule kind of thing. It's a liquid extract from 10 different sea vegetables, which gives you a very decent amount of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, even amino acids. It's like a really excellent combination of everything in a reasonable dose. Now, because it's got everything in there, it's not necessarily going to be enough to reverse a deficiency, but I must admit, in my everyday life, I don't take Daily Multiple every day because I feel like the food that I eat on a daily basis is so nourishing, I really just don't need it. But when I'm away, when I'm traveling, I'm often not going to be able to eat as optimally as I do at home. And so therefore, I'll definitely take Daily Multiple with me. And it often feels like, it's really quenching like a thirst. Like my body's used to highly nutritious food and it misses it when it's not around. I don't feel like, oh, great, I can binge on bad food. I'm like, oh God, I've got to make do with bad food, or not as good food. So I really like to have some Daily Multiple, and that really feels like it quenches me on some kind of level and gives my body the nutrition it needs. Number 6 is barley grass juice powder or pearl powder. I'll kind of try to vary these. I'll either have one or the other, sometimes both. But if I go traveling, I'll usually have one or the other. And so I'll have one or both of those for alkalizing purposes, right? So barley grass juice powder, I'll probably go for more often than not because it's the more economical option, although pearl is the more luxurious option. But basically, as well as draining your reserves traveling, it also tends to create stress, right? And it tends to create acidity as well as maybe not eating so well. So I want to make sure that I prioritize alkalizing even more than normal. And of course at home, it's much easier to just make a green juice, like cucumber juice, green leaves, something like that. But when you're on the go, that's not necessarily as easy to get. And so I would always make sure I take that with me to alkalize my body. Number 7 is Mega Hydrate. And so this is Patrick Flanagan's kind of super silica microcluster technology that basically is like a really powerful hydrator for the cells, as well as being an incredibly potent antioxidant. So much so that it will preserve something like a guacamole. Normally it goes brown within a few hours, right, being left out, but you add Mega Hydrate, it will stay fresh and green for several days. Really, really powerful antioxidant. Anyway, I'll take that with me when traveling, basically for the flight. Not to say I won't have it on the days that I'm away as well, but that's specifically what it's for, because I'm the kind of person that tends to dry out, like my body, if anything, rather than being like a water retention body. My body's a get dried out body, and so I will absolutely make sure to take some Mega Hydrate with me to have on the flight, specifically to help to keep my body hydrated. Number 8 is MMS and Immune. Didn't I already say MMS? No. There's MSM, right, which is the white powder stuff, the pine bark extract, which is for allergies, inflammation, stuff like that, sulfur compound. And then there's MMS, which is a parasite, or what we could call opportunistic organism killing liquid solution. And then of course there's Immune, which is the Lionheart Herbs Taoist tonic herbal blend to help to support the immune system. So I'll be a bit controversial here. Again, I am of course not making any claims in that regard. However, I personally, when I travel, feel better when I have Immune with me, mainly for prevention, but also to help to support my body if it were ever to start to get ill, and also MMS, so that if I actually did get any kind of infection. Now, obviously, you know, doctor, emergency room, all the rest of it. However, if it were the kind of thing that, you know, they said they couldn't help with, or it's no big deal, then I personally would go to something like MMS. So for instance, when I went to Barley, I had Barley belly, as they call it out there, which is kind of parasite thing, and I went to a local shop there and I bought MMS, because in this case, unfortunately, it leaked and spilled all over my luggage, so I had to buy more. And I was very glad that I did, because it worked for me in this particular instance, right? So that's why I will make sure to always bring those. And I would hope that I don't need MMS, right? Because I don't really want to be going through any kind of anti-parasite situation while I'm on holiday or while I'm traveling. But if I, you know, have an infection, then I would very, very much be glad to have the option. Number 9 will be magnesium, right? Now, I've done some content on magnesium before. There's like an hour-long interview where I talk about the benefits of magnesium and interview an expert on the subject, so I won't go into it too much detail. I'll just say that for me, when I'm traveling, the reason I'll take it with me, even though it's something that I can go about it for a week, obviously, in terms of the overall level, but specifically I want to take it for regularity and relaxation, right? And when I travel, the type that I'm actually talking about taking is not the spray to go on the skin, that's great. Although for me personally, my cellular level of magnesium is pretty good these days, which is pretty rare, but obviously down to the fact that I've done a lot to top it up over the years, But what I do like to have is the MSM flakes, so that I can use them internally if necessary, because often the stress of travel can kind of or the stress of having different food can throw off your bowels, right? So this will help to bring the bowels back to full regularity, to have a few of those flakes in some water. That really works for me. And then also to help my body relax, specifically if I put some of those magnesium flakes in a bath, right? And then kind of have them go into my skin transdermally, but specifically in the context of being in a hot bath. So that's what really works for me, and that's the kind of magnesium that I will personally take with me. And then last but not least, is Exclzyme, which is a great digestive and systemic enzyme blend, which was recommended to me by my friend Mike Nash, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the expert on enzymes and certainly is within the UK and Europe. And so I'm going to bring that with me specifically for digestive augmentation, right? And so what does that mean? Basically, it means that if my digestion is great, then great. But if I accidentally eat something that I realise, this isn't agreeing with me, this isn't sitting too well, then it's really handy to have some Exclzyme available to support my body in digesting that, so I'm not kind of struggling with digesting anything that my body's not happy with. So the Exclzyme can support the process. And just thought I'd slip in a little bonus there, even though I said 10. A bonus would be real sea salt. That's something that I do always take with me as well. For life, I mean, what could I say? Salt is for everything. Other than oxygen and water, it's like the third most important element that you need. And I'm not going to encourage you to take oxygen or water with you, because oxygen is everywhere and water you're not allowed to take through the TSA checkpoint, right? But real sea salt I definitely do. Whereas real sea salt is life, like dead processed sea salt or any kind of salt, table salt, the kind of salt that you're generally served is death. It's like night and day to me. Now I know that there's some people disagree with that. I would say, okay, don't listen to either side, listen to your body. Like, try the difference. To me, the difference is obvious and palpable. When I have real sea salt, I feel nourished. When I have a lot of when I have a lot of real sea salt, I feel nourished. When I have a lot of table salt, I feel poisoned in some way. Like, it's like an obvious difference to me. And so I'll make sure that I always take real sea salt with me, so that I can nourish my body, right? So, where can we get all these from? Well, surprise, surprise, yes, these are all available from my store, Lionheart Herbs, with the exception of MMS. However, I will say, you know, if you're in the United States or if you're not in Europe, then look around. You might well be able to get most of these things from somewhere else, and it will be, you know, cheaper for you than getting it from us, right? So it really depends on your location. If you're in Europe, probably best off getting it from us. So in terms of which one do I recommend, which one do I personally use, I'm happy to share that with you. In terms of the grounding sheet, I use, I think they're called Barefoot Corp, but basically Earthing is the brand. For Rejuvenate, Digest and Immune, these are all the Lionheart Herbs brand. These are my brand, my blends. MSM, I use the Aggressive Health brand these days. From my friend Mike Nash, definitely trust him, awesome person. Ditto for Mineral Life, where I would get Daily Multiple from. Mineral Life, I know the owner, Neil, really awesome person, definitely trustworthy, definitely an awesome brand. The Barley Grass Juice Powder is also a Lionheart Herbs product, although to be honest, many other people do it. I like our one. And the Pearl is a Lionheart Herbs brand too. Mega Hydrate is from Phi Sciences, often also known as Patrick Flanagan's brand, right? MMS, you want to go to jimhumble.biz and he'll direct you, because he's really the man when it comes to MMS. He'll tell you all the things that I'm not allowed to about it. And he'll also tell you where you can get it from in your area, should you be interested in that. Be careful with MMS though, it's definitely a medicine, not the tonic. Can have some serious side effects. So, you know, can be seriously helpful, can also be seriously dangerous, got to be careful with it. For magnesium, I use the magnesium oil from Mineral Life if I use that, but in this particular instance I was talking about magnesium flakes, and I personally use the Better You brand for those. They do a great little 250 gram bag, which I take with me and which is very cheap. I think it's like £4, something like that. Exclzyme comes from a brand called AST Enzymes. They're really good, particularly like the Exclzyme. And then real sea salt, yep, Lionheart Herbs does that too. We do a great Atlantic, real, natural, unheated Portuguese sea salt, which is really high in trace minerals and which comes very close to where I currently live in the Algarve in Portugal. Really, really amazing quality. I love that too. So, hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's of use to you. I'd love to hear your feedback, right? Is there anything I've missed out in your opinion? Is there something like you would definitely take that I haven't mentioned here? You know, I would love to know what it is. Do you disagree about something here? Do you think I've said something here that's unnecessary? Like, I'd love to hear your opinion. Also bear in mind that this is one of a series, right? And so what would you like to see next? Would you like to see more kind of big picture philosophical videos like the previous videos? Would you like to see more practical trainings like this in the future? What would you like to see a training on? What topic are you interested in? What questions do you have? What challenges do you have? Post them underneath and I'll be happy to respond, and I'll be happy to, as I say, answer any questions or requests that you have for future trainings. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your feedback. I'll leave some links underneath for as much of this stuff as I can to kind of help you find it. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for your feedback, and I look forward to seeing you next week.